Hello, science family. We're now learning about and working with converting back and forth between the metric and English system. Because sometimes we'll have one unit, like the imperial or English system, but we'll have to eventually get into the metric system for science. So we want to make sure we can jump back and forth between them. So if we look at number 6 here, it looks like I'm starting in gallons and I need to end in decaliters. When looking up at the top at my conversions, there's nothing that goes right from gallons to decaliters. There is, however, something that goes from gallons to liters. So my game plan is, what if I go from gallons to liters, and then once I'm in liters, I then convert quickly to decaliters. So I'm going to do 2 steps, an A and a B step, gallons to liters, and then liters to decaliters. So let's try that out and make that happen. First, I'm going to write down what I'm given. I have 436 gallons. All right, and since I want to go from gallons to liters, I am going to put gallons on the bottom to get rid of it and liters on top. I know from my conversion factor that there are 3.8 liters for every gallon. Now, if I wanted to keep going and go from liters to decaliters, I could, but I don't maybe know off the top of my head how many decaliters are in a liter, even though there are 10. So what I could do is I could just solve for this, and then once I'm in liters, I could use my metric conversion really quick to move the decimal. So I'm going to do that, even though there's a couple different ways you can do this. So remember, since gallons are top and bottom, they cancel out, and you're left with liters for your units. That's going to be 436 times 3.8 divided by 1. Remember, you always multiply by the top number and divide by the bottom number. So when you do 436 times 3.8, you end up getting about 1656.8. So let's write that, 1656.8 liters. All right, now that we have that, we want to convert from liters to decaliters. That's our next step. All right, to do that, let's just look up here at the top. Liters is our base unit, and deca is 1 over. So we would just move 1 to the left. And that's what I'm going to do with my decimal point. I'm going to move it 1 to the left. So what that ends up being is 165.6 decaliters for my answer. So strangely enough, we did a conversion factor to start, and then we used our metric prefixes to help us finish it off. Could you have done it differently and done a conversion factor just like kind of over here, but said that for every 1 deciliter, there's 10 liters? Absolutely. But either way is acceptable. Hopefully this was one way that you can follow and feel good about. Now if we look at question number 7, it looks like you're going to go from cups to liters. But unfortunately, there's no cups to liters specifically. So we have to figure out a way to get from cups to liters. Let's see. I can do cups to quarts, and if I'm in quarts, I can then do quarts to liters. So it looks like that's going to be my game plan. I'm going to go from cups, convert to quarts, and then from quarts, I'm going to convert to liters. All right, so let's do that. As always, we want to start off with what we are given as a number, and that's 520 cups. Now I want to get rid of my cups and get into units of quarts, so I put cups on the bottom. Remember, the reason we put them on top and bottom is so they cancel out, and that's exactly what they're going to do. But remember now, let's make sure we look at our conversion factor. There's 4 cups in every 1 quart. Now that I'm there, I do know that there's 1.06 quarts for every liter, so I can continue this math problem, put quarts on the bottom and liters on top. Why is quarts on the bottom? Remember, when they're at the top and bottom, their units cancel, and you'll be left with liters, and that's what you're hoping to get. So let's make sure that that happens. If I look for every 1 liter, there's 1.06 quarts. And again, I got that from this conversion factor up here. Now that I'm left with liters for my units, I just have to do my math. If you recall, you always start with the number you have, multiply by the top, divide by the bottom, multiply by the top, divide by the bottom. If I write that out longhand, just to make sure that we're following, it would be 520 times 1 divided by 4 times 1 divided by 1.06. All right. Let me fix that up, make that look a little bit nicer. That's supposed to be a 6. All right, when I plug that into my calculator and chug out my answer, I end up with about 122.64 liters for my answer. All right, so we did some more conversions, looking good. Doing number 8, we have 69 liters to quarts, and lucky for us, we know a conversion quickly from liters to quarts. So let's do that one-step problem. No worries. If I have 69 liters, I'm going to try to get rid of liters by putting it on the bottom. I'm going to put quarts on top. Remember, if liters are on the top and bottom, they would cancel out, leaving you with the unit you were hoping for, which is good. So now all we have to do is fill in our numbers. It looks like there's 1.06 quarts for every 1 liter. So that means I'm going to end up doing 69 times 1.06 divided by 1. And again, the reason for that is you always take your number, multiply by the top, divide by the bottom. What do we end up getting for an answer for that one? When we multiply that all out, you end up getting about 73.14 quarts. So if you have liters, you have a few more quarts because quarts are a little bit smaller. Right? But again, hopefully this helped you. It'll support you a little bit better in problem solving and think about what will convert to what. All right, great job, Science fam. See you soon.